camp yesterday afternoon and it had been sort of sprinkling down a little bit. Mum and Dad had a bit of a time getting in for a place that's been in drought. I tell you what, they had a lot of rain yesterday afternoon and all the creeks just flooded and just ran. All the causeways were flooded, covered in mud. By the time we came through, the majority of them had actually gone down, so it runs away pretty quick. But then last night, well, what time was it? It was bloody early in the morning.
It was 1:30.
1:30 in the morning, we had a big storm come through and it bucketed down for ages. And we just got totally drenched. Thankfully everything's dry inside the tents. But it certainly would have caused those causeways to come back up and running again. So we're going to wait a little bit. We're pretty determined to go and find a World War II plane wreck today, so hopefully the track down into there is okay. And I guess we're going to work that out on the way. See how we go. Yeah. So we'll do that, and then from there we're going to head back down to the coast, right down onto a river, and do a bit of fishing, get the boats back in the water. Might spend about 3 days down there, and hopefully it'll be a bit warmer than where it is here.
Let's hope so.
Clayton's Cape, mate, I tell you what, it's certainly not as hot and humid as Cape York.
Nope. But
you know, you get that when it's only a Clayton's Cape.
Yep.
Yeah, right, let's get ourselves sorted and go and see if we can find this plane wreck.
Coffee time.
Yeah. So not long after we went to bed last night, Wayne's campsite started making funny noises.
Yes.
So what's happened, bro?
Yes. Well, I heard a pot go flying off somewhere. I didn't know it was your side or my side, so I stuck my head out, torch, couldn't see anything. But this morning, the old pot was on the ground. You can tell it's been licked out. Footprints on my bench. Chewed through me packet of food. Chewed the top of the sauce bottle. But amazingly, left my scotch alone.
Well, that was lucky.
I reckon. So yeah, had a little visitor from a possum or something.
Yeah.
Didn't like smoky barbecue sauce.
What's that plate down on the ground down here?
Yeah, that could have been the wind, but so it'll teach me not to do my housework before I go to bed.
Yes. That just goes to show you should always pack up your gear before you go to sleep at night.
Yeah.
Just you never know what critters
are lurking.
Yeah. Wow. There's a trap for young players.
I don't know how to get my sauce out now.
Be sharing it with the possum.
Oh well. This is camping.
So this plane wreck we're going to see is a United States Liberator bomber, and it was on its way back to Brisbane when it crashed, and that was in 1945. Now it is a bit of a memorial site because 8 people died here. There were 6 American soldiers and 2 British soldiers that, well, I should say air service personnel, so servicemen. So it is a spot where they died. So, you know, you come to these sites, you got to make sure that you respect it, respect that people have, you know, lost their lives here, and treat it for what it deserves to be treated. It's a about a 23k run out to the crash site, and even though it's a fairly easy track, you still wouldn't want to bring your grandmother's Corolla around here. Site right here. Walking around, we haven't even quite got to the plane just yet, and the bits of wreckage that are lying around, just scattered in here everywhere. And obviously when they hit, they hit hard, and stuff just gets sprayed everywhere. So this plane was a 4-engine plane, and this is number 4 that we've found, and it is, I don't know, I'd say about 100 metres from the actual crash of the rest of the plane, which is pretty typical of a plane crash because the motors are the heaviest part. In the individual mass of each motor means that when it smashes into something, they keep going, they just roll straight through the scrub. And you can sort of tell the force of the impact just by how far these engines end up. So pretty unbelievable really, and puts the whole crash into perspective. she is. One United States Air Force Liberator bomber. Now what I think's great about this, where we are at the moment, is that all the bits of wreckage and bits of parts that we can see in the bush are still here. So people haven't been souveniring it. And I think that's pretty good, and it's important to leave it here. People need to know about history. They need to be able to see it and come and enjoy it for what it is, as a history lesson. Like I said earlier, this is also a spot where 8 people lost their lives, so it's a solemn reminder of the cost of war. This B-24 Liberator bomber had flown 22 bombing missions out of Darwin during World War II. By 1945, it had been retired from combat and was only used for transporting personnel and supplies between Darwin and Brisbane. It was during one of these supply runs when, on the 26th of February 1945, the bomber left Darwin with the 8 crew on board and disappeared on its way to Brisbane. The whereabouts of this plane remained a mystery for 49 years, even though several attempts had been made to locate it. Now, that was until the 2nd of August 1994, when a ranger, checking a recent burn-off, stumbled across the wreckage and the 49-year mystery had been solved. The remains and the personal items of the 8 men were recovered, and the site now serves as a permanent memorial to their sacrifice. Anyway, that's our plane wreck here at Clayton's Cape, and for now we've got to get back. We've got to get back to camp, do a quick pack up, and head for the coast and do some fishing, and leave this here. As I said, if you find this site, come and have a look, but leave everything that's here. I've been to the plane wrecks in Cape York, and there's not a lot left sitting on the ground. When you come here, it's unbelievable the amount of stuff that is still here from the wreck. So please leave it that way.
Which is good.
It is good.
It's an eye-opener.
It is. And yeah, so for now, we're going to head back to camp and take off for the coast. Day finds us out of the mountaintops and down at the much warmer sea level, exploring a beautiful coastal creek system. We ran up here about half an hour ago, I suppose, threw some pots out up the top,
crackpots cruising through these shallows, and there were big blue tusk fish, and I mean big. It was a whole school. So needless to say, ran back to get all the fishing gear. All sorts of stuff jumping out of the water. Now, as beautiful as this creek system is, there is something lurking just under the surface, waiting to ruin your day if you're not paying attention.
Like I said, check out that big hua. That's a bloody big rock in the middle of a channel. I'm cruising down there in a big boat. Not a kid.
No more signs of those tusk fish, or any other fish for that matter, we moved back out to the main bay where Wayno, you know, being Wayno, caught up with one of the more interesting locals. Very dangerous if you stand on the kill. Stand on these things and yeah, you're not going to have a good day, that's for sure. Stonefish are regarded as the most highly venomous of all fish. They have 13 spines along their dorsal fin that are all capable of injecting venom, which is said to cause excruciating pain. It can also lead to muscular paralysis, breathing difficulties, shock and even heart failure and death. Long story short, don't stand on one.
When they're in the water and they're sitting in the sand, they just look like a rock. That's what they call them, stonefish.
Yeah, you can see where they get their name. Anyway, we'll chuck him back in the water and see what happens. Where is they?
Alright.
Go and have a look at those rocks up there.
Yeah.
The incoming tide. After spending the next few hours out in the main bay with still no signs of any edible fish, we opted to do something that seems to be becoming, well, you know, a bit of a habit with us. Yeah, it certainly does. Hopefully that means it makes big holes up here and all the mangrove jack just sitting there waiting. What do you reckon our chances are? Try and fish along these exposed rocks. You see them at high tide, you're only just clearing them in the boat. So the tide hasn't quite started to run in here yet, still running out. So we'll get that turn of the tide, See how we go on these rocks and fish around the mangroves and stuff, and hopefully some deep pockets in here. Negotiating these rocks can be a little tricky as there's not enough water for the motor and the wind just pushes you straight up the creek. However, it's times like these when we're glad our boats are much bigger than the average bathtub at home. So after spending another couple of hours chucking lures around the rocks, off a couple of sandbars, and anywhere else that looks fishy. Ooh, thick water. You know the whole, one more cast, one more cast, one more cast. Look what it does, straight in the bloody tree. The story of the day continued. Not a fish to be seen. Well, that was until we called it a day and started heading back to camp, when out of nowhere we saw the one fish that is all over that other cape, a fish that can bring any angler absolute excitement as well as complete disappointment. That's right, I'm talking about a barra. Jeez, oi! I nearly landed in the boat. Scared the crap out of me. So in case you missed it, let's just go back and have another look. Yep, there it is, a prime example of a barracuda. Sorry, you didn't think I meant a barramundi, did you? Well, Wayno, it looks like this place has turned out to be a bit of a bust.
Yep, big donut.
Big donut, yeah, not a lot of fish. Well, we're not even going to call it a fishing trip. We'll call it a scientific survey. How's that sound?
Yeah.
Scientific survey.
Yeah. We can go back and report to the authorities that there's no fish here.
Yeah, no, well, there's little ones.
Yeah.
We can say there's lots of little babies. It's a great nursery. The old man actually outdid us on the boat ramp. So he got a lot of little small stuff.
Yep.
But, you know, a fish is a fish, as long as the little ones go back.
That's right.
And, well, you never know, a few years' time this place might be a booming fishing place.
Well, we hope so.
Yeah.
Because we'll come back.
But I tell you what, I know of another spot.
Really?
Yeah, not far from here, out on the beach.
All right.
We're going to do a bit of beach camping.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a forward drive track to get into there.
Nice.
Yeah, we like that, and potentially could get bogged.
Well, we don't get bogged.
No, we don't get bogged. We don't get bogged.
It must be good sand if we do get bogged.
Probably famous last words, but we don't get bogged.
Yeah.
So let's go and do that, eh? We'll go up and have a bit of a beach camp for the next couple of days, and
up the beach.
Yeah, and with any luck, depending on what this wind's doing, we may get the tinnies back in the water.
Okay, cool.
So sound good?
Sounds like a plan to me.
All right, let's go.
Get out of here.
Yeah, we're into it. It was here that Dad decided it would be a good idea to turn around. The reason being is that both coil springs in the caravan had prematurely collapsed, leaving only about 25mm of clearance to the bump stops. Dropping the van into a hole and hitting the bump stops too hard risked severe chassis damage, so he opted to backtrack out the way we came in and take the bitumen road north where we'll meet up later.
That was me. Right, a little bit of bother there. The old man's decided he's not going to drag the van down this track, so we're going to head back out the track that we came in on, head back out on one of the main roads around here, and then meet us up at another point further up, because it has got very interesting, which is good for us because that's what we like. So we'll see how we go, but yeah, dragging that van through, and then found we had a bit of a power issue, which means the brake lights weren't working and tail lights on the van. We've got that sorted. That way you should be trouble free, at least till the next time they meet up with us and we drag them through something else. Gotta love that camper, eh? Hubs in just in case. I don't think it's going to be much, to be honest, but I don't want to get out in the mud and then have to do it. I just drive straight through, see what happens. Quite a firm base to it, really. Yeah, look muddy. That's why I lock the hubs in, just in case. Right, just put in four-wheel drive. Just put in four-wheel drive, low range.
Happy slippage.
Yeah, I might leave it in four-wheel drive for a bit. Most people seem to think as soon as you hit the mud, flatten it. You end up in all sorts of trouble majority of the time. The bottom of this is a bit slippery, but it's not too bad. Okay. So rather than just smashing through everything and breaking stuff, just work your way through it. If you get stuck, you get stuck. We've got winches, we'll get out. I'd rather get out and get to the next fishing spot, next camping spot, and smash the crap out of everything and then have to find the nearest town to fix everything before we can go anywhere. We don't have time for that. We've got important fishing to do. We've got a beach camp to go to. Sounds like a lot more fun than making repairs.
You weren't expecting that.
I was half expecting it, but I thought, no, we're all good, and then boom.
The further we travel along this track, the more familiar the scenery seems to get.
What have we here? This is the Clayton's Cape version of the Tele Track.
Yes, good choice.
You can only imagine what these creeks would look like after a substantial amount of rain. Remember, almost the entire state of Queensland is officially classed as being in a drought.
So this is definitely the Clayton's Cape version of the Tele Track, because we're following along the lines. Okay, granted, it's power, not telephone, and the stuff is still working. The Tele Track's not, and all the poles are made of timber, but you know, you get the idea.
Signalling the end of our Clayton's Tele Track is of course the Clayton's Jardine River crossing. Yes, it's not as wide as the Jardine River, and there's a bridge instead of a ferry, and it's a lot cheaper to get to the other side, but come on people, work with me here. Now you don't honestly expect that Wayno would just drive past an awesome river like this and not stop and chuck a lure around, do you? Not bloody likely.
Whoa! What was that?
So we spent a bit more time fishing around the bridge, but yeah, you guessed it, no more mangrove jack.
So anyway, we're gonna travel off a little spot. I reckon it's just like Usher Point. So we're gonna travel out to Clayton's Cape, Usher Point, and stop there for a few days before we continue on with the rest of our journey.
Is there going to be any fish?
I hope so.
Better be.
Better be. You caught a couple of jackies.
Almost.
Almost.
One did a somersault.
So, right, well, keep going and get onto this beach camping, eh?
Alright, let's go.
While we hit the road once again, we hope you can join us next time for our final episode, where we take a little nighttime drive. Find a cracker of a beach camp. Finally start boating some fish.
No fish yet. One here though.
And end it all at the tip of Clayton's Cape.
Well, bro, here you go. Clayton Cape's tip.
That's all coming up next time when we wrap up our Clayton's Cape adventure.